That's my name.
Hey, this is Sharks Across Hollywood, and I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say.
Wow, that was a strong opener to immediately stumble over.
Hey, this is Sharks Across Hollywood. No, wait. Take 3. This is Sharks Across Hollywood. We're gonna talk about a fucking video game movie, sort of. It's a documentary.
It is a video game movie.
It is.
I mean, it's all about video games.
King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. I'm gonna tell everybody what this movie's about. I'm not reading the IMDb description or anything. This movie is about a bunch of mediocre white dudes and how they can be the biggest fucking losers on the planet.
Says the man with 2 arcade systems in his rec room.
Hold on. I know I said I was kind of done with negativity, but
when did you say that? I've never heard you say that.
I've said that several times in the past few weeks. This movie brought it right back around, and now I'm going to be a hateful dick for a minute. For a while. I don't know how long this is going to last, but we'll see. So, this movie is essentially about a rivalry between 2 guys trying to get the high score, like the high score, the world record high score on Donkey Kong. The OG Donkey Kong cabinet that came out in like 1980?
Somewhere around 80, 82, something like that, yeah.
Billy Mitchell and Steve Weeby. In my notes, I have him as the Weeb because there's another guy named Steve also.
The Weeb.
He's the Weeb.
That's taken on some different connotations in the years since this movie came out.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it means, though, so I'm just going to keep on calling him the Weeb.
It means a kid who, is obsessed with Japanese culture to the point where they pretend to be Japanese.
Oh, he would definitely do that, this guy.
Maybe if he'd been born 20 years later.
Well, maybe not this guy. Billy.
No, I
would.
don't think Steve. There are definitely some guys in this movie who would do that if they had been born 20, 30 years later.
Brian Koo would absolutely do. Probably now. It's probably what he's doing right now. He's sitting in his fucking mom's basement in Indiana or wherever the fuck Twin Galaxies is, and going, "I retired. Har har. I'm 30."
I wonder if he's like independently wealthy or so. Like if you got rich on the .com bubble or something like that.
No.
Did you do some research?
Yep.
Okay, I'm very curious how Brian Koo funds his arcade cabinet addiction, which he clearly is, because he is not competing on the level of these 2 men.
No, but he thinks he is.
Yeah. There's some
thinks he's up there.
strong delusion going on.
But it does turn out that he does hold a few records.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. Just not on Donkey Kong.
Just not on Donkey Kong. You can't get. I've gotten 200,000 points on Donkey Kong. What the fuck? I haven't. I think I've probably made it to that 3rd level with all the springs and elevators, and then I fucking gave up because I'm not that good at that game.
Yeah, I've made it a few screens in at best.
So the arcade cabinets that the Rev was referring to are the arcade 1-up of the Mortal Kombat trilogy and the Ninja Turtles one. When those first came out, walking through Walmart with one of those in your cart was the weirdest thing because everybody fucking stared at you. I got a Christmas bonus at work, and I'm like, I'm buying one of those. I'm buying that thing. And I go to Walmart, I throw that big bastard in my cart, and everybody's like, what the fuck is that dork doing? I'm not joking. Everybody was staring at me. It was really weird.
See, if I'm not trying to denigrate your choices. Mortal Kombat, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, both fine arcade cabinets. The one I would go for, though, if I had the money and the will to throw down on one of those, would definitely be the Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man.
Well, that one also has like 14, 15 other games on it.
Yeah, it's got like all the Pac-Mans, and then it's got
Dig Dug and Galaga and
like
Galaxian
things,
and yeah, that one I do. I also want that one. We only ended up with the Mortal Kombat one because it was at the Spokane discount store for super cheap. Somebody must have returned it thinking like, oh god, I have to put this fucker together.
But it works fine.
Yeah.
You know what I really want is the table one.
Oh yeah, that one's awesome.
The clear top. Yeah, that's the one I really want.
I want the X-Men one, but
that's a lot of machine. Did they do like with the double or triple screens?
No.
Oh.
No, it looks just like the Ninja Turtles one.
Oh, the whole point of the X-Men machine was that you could do like 6 players at once.
You can do 4.
I want that giant fucking machine.
Well, I know
with the
you
3
want
screens.
it. You need to buy the actual arcade cabinet then. This is so you can actually play the game, because the only way you can really play it now is on like a MAME emulator, which plays a part in this story several years later, by the way.
Oh, I had heard I read some of the follow-up on this, but I can never keep it straight in my head because it jumps back and forth. Like there's all kinds of shit going on, and at this point there's like a Korean kid or a Japanese kid or something who's actually surpassed everybody, or at least there had at the time that I last checked up on it. But Billy Mitchell was still being a tool.
None of these guys have maintained their records on these games because everybody is smarter than they are.
Well, which is crazy because Billy Mitchell did have that record for 20 years.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't quite legitimate.
Yeah. There's
Well, I think his original one was.
No, yeah, that 870 like he did that one live.
Yeah. We'll get into all of it. Like the first time you meet this guy, okay, Billy Mitchell. If you haven't heard of him, he was the first person to ever like complete Pac-Man, the original arcade, back in like 82 or something like that. And then he was the first person to score that high. He held the world record on Donkey Kong for, like something you said, like 20 years.
And he was the first person to ever get a kill screen on Donkey Kong live. As I was driving over here, I had this thought. I had the thought, well, you know, I don't know Billy Mitchell. I don't know, you know, like what the story is here. And obviously the story is crafted in a certain way, you know. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, but using Billy's own expressed logic in this movie, something he clearly states in no uncertain terms, I'm going to go ahead and just assume the worst about this dude, because that's what he does. Like he says about Steve Wiebe, he's like, I don't know the man well enough, you know.
That's later on, and he is such a dick about this whole thing.
Yeah, and he's like, and it's like, okay, so you don't know enough to say whether or not he's a good guy, so you're going to assume he's a dick and he's up to nefarious business. All right, I don't know enough about you to say whether or not you're a bad guy, but I'm going to assume you're a dick. I know he was being a dick in this movie, but you know, like maybe he had reasons that weren't being expressed on camera, but still, he's being a dick.
Well,
even his friends are like, you know, Billy, I don't have any concerns about this guy's.
Yeah, he's like,
fucking know.
Yeah, I'm cool with this dude, and that's when he's like, I don't know enough about him. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Oh.
So originally the filmmakers they were like, hey, let's go film all these guys playing these games and getting these records. Apparently they had like 400 fucking hours of footage.
I don't doubt it. Based on all the coverage, just based on the number of like one-off interview segments you get like thrown in, they must have had a lot of footage they didn't use.
Yeah. So the Steve Wiebe thing came in later. They just kind of heard about this guy from Redmond, Washington. Why does everything happen in Washington? I picked a weird state to move to.
Local boy makes good.
Well, I went from Montana, where we had Evel Knievel and Tracy Gold from Growing Pains, and Dana Carvey. Dana Carvey was born.
Tracy Gold. Oh my God.
Dana Carvey was born in Missoula and lived there for 3 months. And that's like all we had, celebrity wise, you know. And now I'm here, and what do we have? We have Jimi Hendrix, we have Bruce Lee, we have fucking Kurt Cobain. All Seattle, of course, but still, whatever. Still Washington, still Spokane adjacent, kind of. Yeah. And so many serial killers have passed through this state. It is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, we got it.
Some of them are based here. Some of them just kind of were here at some point. It is so weird because every time I'm listening to a true crime podcast, they're always like, "Oh, this guy went through Washington and then he ended up wherever he went."
Now, don't forget, we have I don't know,
and we have several serial killers. Obviously,
I don't know if he maintains the record as the most prolific serial killer, but we had the most prolific serial killer, the Green River.
Washington, everybody, move here. It's fun. Apparently,
it's okay. He only killed hookers.
That is true. So, like people like your mom, your sister. Your dad, if he's feeling frisky.
I read that the cop who ended up cracking the case and busted him did say that he believed that was the reason that nobody pushed him harder to
nobody cares.
Catch him, is because he only killed hookers, and everybody was like, yeah, fuck him, who cares?
They don't matter. They're not people or anything. Am I right? High five. Don't high five.
I'm not high-fiving that.
Anyways, welcome to Washington. It's fucking great. So we meet Steve Wiebe, who I also hate. For reasons. We'll get there. We'll get there. But he is really good at Donkey Kong, apparently. But he's also like really fucking good at like everything else.
Yeah.
Even
his athletic side,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, all right, you're making him less sympathetic here, guys.
Yeah, even his mom is like, I think he might be a little autistic. And I'm like, you think so, do you? Like, definitely, there's some neurodivergence in this
for
man.
sure.
But
although really, there probably is in most of these guys.
Well, oh yeah, he's probably the most like well put together though. He's got a wife and 2 kids and a job, which I'm not sure if it's true, but apparently that teaching job he got was only subbing, like.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But he's working 12 to 14-hour days as a sub. I don't really understand what the hell's going on. That's cool. That's a noble job, especially, and the kids all seem to like him. They interview a couple kids and they're like, he holds a world record? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, it's for Donkey Kong, isn't it? Because obviously he's talked about it before in class.
You get that impression.
Yeah, just a little bit. So we'll get back to him too. I kind of come around on him, but at first, oh god, this fucking guy. And then my next note is, there's a bunch of talking heads with a bunch of dudes who I'm going to refer to as losers an awful lot, which is probably pretty mean, but I'm an asshole. So ...
Yeah, you get the impression for a lot of these guys, being good at whatever game they were good at was the one feather they had in their cap in their life.
The referee, whose name I can't remember, I think I'll remember it later, who was like started the Twin Galaxies thing, and it's kind of his fault that all this is happening. Not his fault really, but he's not a bad guy. He's just kind of.
He doesn't seem like a bad-hearted guy,
no,
he is letting some shit slide that maybe wasn't the best idea.
And he thinks that because he's good at Centipede, chicks are going to want to see his Centipede. He didn't put it that way, but that's what he said. But there's one thing that I do agree with these guys on. A bunch of them are like, these games are hard. They require skill and hand-eye coordination. And I am 100% behind that one. These guys have to be at least kind of good with their hands, right?
Not just hand-eye coordination, reaction speed, memorization knowledge, because you have to memorize those patterns, you have to memorize the tricks.
And apparently every one of those machines is just like slightly different too, is what I gather from some of this stuff.
I mean, just because, like, think about the joysticks, like based on how a joystick is maintained, it's going to have a different level of reaction, So playing on your machine versus going and playing on someone else's machine could be a huge difference potentially.
Yeah, these games stress me out, but one thing that came out of this is like, fuck, dude, I need to go to an arcade and play some of these old ass games.
Well, we have a very good arcade in town that you can go to and play some of these old ass games.
I only want to in theory. I don't actually want to leave my house.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just play this shitty Donkey Kong on Nintendo.
Every time you talk about some shit you want to do, I know there's a 98% chance that you don't actually want to do it.
I am going to see The Room on Saturday, and I'm going to go see South Park.
Excuse me,
the movie.
We are going to see The Room.
And I'm going to see the South Park movie with my family. Yes, that is, my children are involved in this, and it's a sing-along. It's going to be great. Let's meet Steve Sanders. He's a lawyer.
Which one's Steve Sanders? Is he Billy's buddy?
He's Billy's fucking boyfriend.
Okay.
He's Billy's side piece.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the second Billy's wife is introduced, did you not go, yeah, that story checks out immediately?
Oh, because he's like a fucking hot sauce mogul, and it would track that he would have a wife like that.
She's totally a trophy wife.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
they're still fucking married.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, hey, that's good, I guess.
This idiot was just on this week, as of recording this, on Talk is Jericho.
Is that Chris Jericho's show?
Yeah.
I didn't even know Chris Jericho had a show. Is it a show or a podcast?
Podcast. And he interviews a different person every week or so. And
Billy Mitchell was on this week.
Yeah.
What's Billy Mitchell up to? I know there's been some controversy in the intervening years since King of Kong.
Like, he comes off as slightly less douchey than he is in the movie. Still,
one would hope he learned his lesson from
he
how
still
he came across in the movie.
He still has that Frank Dukes level, not of delusion, but like of unearned confidence.
Okay.
Like undeserved confidence. Maybe he's not undeserved, but that's how I learned he has kids and his wife is still there, and he's like, yeah, I know she's hot, but she's also super smart because she's got like a PhD or some shit.
You know what? That one's on me because I would not have guessed that, and that says something about me, and not necessarily
Sexist.
something good. Yep, not necessarily something good.
Well, and also he's kind of rich. He doesn't like have to work.
That's
or
true.
Do anything.
That's true. He is definitely he's firmly in the hot sauce mogul.
Well, and
category.
I don't know how rich he is. I don't know if it's like 6-figure rich or 7-figure rich or what.
Now that I'm talking about it, I'm rethinking my assessment, and what I can say is he puts off an air of being rich, but then he would.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know shit.
I was just gonna say something really stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyways. A rich guy wouldn't have hair that bad, and then I immediately
thought of our president, our former never to be again president.
Oh,
don't count your chickens before they're hatched, my friend.
Well,
I'm not rooting for it, but I'm not betting against it.
So this Steve Sanders guy, by the way, apparently lied about his score back in 1982 to act like he beat Billy, and then Billy publicly kicked his ass on Donkey Kong. I believe it was. I think it was Donkey Kong.
No, I thought it was Galaga.
Else. Oh, maybe. I don't remember. He publicly beat his ass in some game that he was lying about, and then they became best friends or boyfriends or fuck buddies. I don't know.
Something like this. There's definitely yeah, he's got side piece energy.
Doesn't he?
For sure.
Oh God, he tries to wear the pants in his like actual marriage, but it doesn't work. All the talking heads.
He seems like a nice guy. I'm talking a lot of shit, but he does seem like a nice guy.
That's our job. We're here to make fun of these guys. All the talking heads, they're stroking Billy Mitchell and just fucking jerking him right off, talking about how fucking great he is.
I mean, right off the bat, they push that really hard, but that's because they're trying to set up. They're setting up the mythology. To tear
I'm sure
it down.
the
credit where credit is due. Billy Mitchell did set those records back in the 80s. Like the only way to do it was to get in front of a machine and set the record, and he did that. The problem is he hasn't done it recently. At 06. Recently.
My next note is his dad looks like somebody who would be the father of someone like Billy.
Just based on looks, you are 100% right.
You guys have to see it. I cannot. He looks like Danny DeVito let himself go, and or like a flattened Sam Kinison.
This is a complete aside. It's related in my head, but you may not be able to connect the dots. Have you heard Walton Goggins? You know Walton Goggins.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic character actor, Walton Goggins. Have you heard him talk about his dad?
No.
Walton Goggins.
That sounds awesome.
I can't remember where it was. I think it was maybe on Kimmel or Fallon or something like that. Something completely uninteresting, but he's interesting. And they bring up this picture of his dad, and his dad is this fucking wild character in like 74 pounds of turquoise, giant cowboy hat, big duster, sunglasses indoors all the time, like this, just this wild character, right? And he says, this is what my dad does, right? My dad, because people will occasionally come up to him, and comment on his look. He's like, my dad, when someone comes up to him, he'll take a photo out of his pocket of him and hand it to him and say, my name's Walton Goggins, and this is a picture of me. I signed that for you. And then he's like, and here, this, and he'll pull another photo out of his other pocket. This is a photo of my son. His name's also Walton Goggins. I signed that one for you too.
Because he had the same name. That's adorable. You know where I first discovered Walton Goggins?
I'm gonna guess The Hateful Eight.
No. What's The Hateful Eight?
Okay, don't make me come across this table, Andrew.
The Next Karate Kid.
Oh fuck! I didn't even know he was in that.
Like, a lot of people are like, oh, nobody knew about fucking Walton Goggins before he was the ghoul in fucking Fallout. I'm like, no.
No, I knew about the first place I saw Walton Goggins that I remembered him was in House of a Thousand Corpses.
The fuck was he in House of a Thousand Corpses?
He was the cop who gets shot.
Oh, shit.
Execution style in that really long shot.
Oh yeah, okay, that was him. Fuck.
Yeah, that was him.
Nice.
That wasn't the first place I saw him. It's just the first place I remember seeing him. I know I'd seen him in something else before, but That was the first place I remember seeing. I mean, I saw the next Karate Kid. I watched it in the theater.
He's one of...
You're talking about the Hilary Swank one, right?
Yeah.
I watched that in the theater. So
No, I'm talking about the next one that's coming out in a year or two.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't confusing it with the Jaden Smith one, okay?
No, that's just the Karate Kid.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure. I figured it was the Hilary
The
Swank
next
one, but
Karate
I
Kid
wanted
is
to make
literally
sure.
called The Next Karate Kid. Bitch slap you with words over there. They're not like clever words or anything. I just won't shut up.
That works too.
I'm actually surprised that Billy Mitchell is still married to that same woman. He definitely seems like what I thought Bruce Campbell was like, but Bruce Campbell's not like that at all.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying, but he seems like that character Bruce Campbell plays in his interviews and stuff.
Yeah, in his every movie you've ever seen Bruce Campbell in.
Yeah. The Bruce Campbell character.
The very creepy, like, yeah, I was married to an age-appropriate woman once. It was really boring. Let's go fuck this 20 years younger girl.
Have you watched some of the Evil Dead promos that he did as Ash?
No.
They're fucking hilarious, dude. They're so fucking good. He's like it's like PSA shit, and he's like,
drugs are everywhere. I should know. I got an ounce of Acapulco Gold in my trailer right now. But at some point, you'll have to talk to your kids about drugs. Sit them down and tell them. Get their own damn stash. I don't work my ass off to share my hard-earned doobies with those little bastards. No. One other piece of advice. If you find your kids drugs, take them. What are they going to do, call the cops?
Bruce Campbell's my favorite. Bruce Campbell, don't do anything bad.
oh, please don't,
God
Bruce,
damn it.
please.
We need some of you fucking weirdos. We need another person like Marilyn Manson, who we thought was good for the longest time, and somebody we can point to and be like, look at him, he's a fucking freak and he's nice.
You know why? He did a good interview in Bowling for Columbine. That's why.
Well, yeah, I remember seeing him like right after Columbine, and my parents like immediately changed the channel. They're like, hey, we're not watching this guy. I'm like, no, we gotta. Look at him. It's amazing. And it turns out
he did a really good fucking interview for that, though.
I do
really
remember
did.
that. And it turns out he's just as creepy as these fucking other assholes that we're supposed to be looking out for. Ugh! It's upsetting.
He's exactly as creepy as you expected him to be back in the 90s. But he did that good interview, and he fooled us.
Let's get back to talking about more douchebags that have never seen vaginas before. Let's...
I'm not saying they haven't seen them. They probably haven't touched one.
They've definitely seen them in magazines that they stole because they spend all their quarters on fucking Donkey Kong and Galaga and shit. So Billy Mitchell's the first person to play a perfect game on Pac-Man, and it happened in 1999. And that means he didn't lose a life. He fucking got all the ghosts, all the pellets, everything.
Genuinely impressive.
That's fucking... I can make it like maybe 5 levels in on Pac-Man and I'm out. If that, even.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
This is where it really starts to go off the rails. Like we're like 5 minutes into the movie. Some folk singer douche is writing a fucking song about this guy.
That was the bridge too far for me on that one. That was where it like entered in the realm of the cartoon.
I can't. I don't understand.
Like, this guy doesn't actually think this is good, does he? Does he think this is good?
Well, and then later, the fucking referee guy is starting a music career, and
the referee guy makes sense though, like because he's one of these guys who's like he's got all these things in his head,
yeah,
but he's getting to the age where it's like it's clearly never gonna happen. But he's got his thing. He's got something that he does that he's known for. You know, that he's made his stamp on the world. But he wants the rock star lifestyle, which everybody wants the rock star lifestyle. But he's clearly not good at it, you know. But
no.
he's just got these he's got this pie in the sky dream, and he's not living in reality, which is fine.
No,
not living in reality,
fine, but I'm gonna make fun of him for it.
Not living in reality is how he started Twin Galaxies in the first place, which is pretty cool.
And you know, so along with all that stuff, the guy who's the most put together, he has a wife. And his wife is like, yeah, I'm kind of concerned that this Donkey Kong nonsense, Steve Wiebe, by the way, is going to really...
Steve Wiebe's poor wife.
Really,
oh, my God.
She seems very nice, and I feel sorry for her.
She seems so Midwestern. Like, there's no way she grew up in Redmond. Sorry. She talks like this. She sounds almost like she's from Minnesota.
Yeah, kind of. And then apparently this Wiebe guy was in the early Seattle grunge scene, but nobody gave a shit. So everybody
started a band in like 1990. Everybody.
I do
Everybody who was that age.
Yeah, that's true. I do like The Cure, though. We got a nice Cure song, Pictures of You. It's a good song.
That's a good song.
His job didn't work out at Boeing, which is kind of fucked up. He apparently got laid off the day they signed papers on their house. That's awful.
Yeah,
I feel bad for them for that.
That's rough.
They keep saying that Donkey Kong was the first Mario game. Technically true, but I'm pretty sure he was called Jumpman.
Yeah.
So whatever, it doesn't matter, but fucking whatever. Da-da-da-da. Oh, God. Okay. All right. We'll get back to this guy. But Brian Koo.
Okay, Brian Koo's a little much. He's not the most a little much guy, but the other guy, the tape viewer guy.
Oh, good Lord.
He doesn't get as much screen time as Brian Koo does, so Brian Koo becomes the a little much guy.
How many this isn't even in my notes, I'm just thinking of this now. How many women do you think these guys had to corner to get their attention? How many doors are they standing in front of holding clothes while they're jerking off while these women are trying to escape?
Oh my God. No, you know what? I don't think, you know why? That takes a level of confidence that these guys don't have.
That's fair. They're the why don't girls like me guys.
I think they're the past it guys. Like I'm sure in their teenage years they were the why don't girls like me guys, but at this point in their life, they've been involuntarily celibate so long that they've lost, and they didn't grow up with that toxic internet community to give them a focus for their hate. So they just kind of got inured to it, and now their balls are just kind of vestigial.
What did that guy say about like the smoking hot women?
Oh yeah, you don't see a lot of DDG women.
DDGs,
which stands for drop dead gorgeous. In case you were wondering,
you're weird. You are very weird. He's obviously after some poon.
Isn't that the guy with the
glove?
Glove?
Yeah. He's like what? Short? Is it Shorty from Of Mice and Men? I don't remember what his name is. There's this asshole character that nobody likes, and he's really short. I can't remember what his fucking name is, but he's married to this woman, and he's a dick. He has this glove on his right hand, and everybody's like, "What the fuck that glove for?" It's like, "Oh, it's filled with Vaseline. He's keeping his hand soft for his wife." You never do that? Oh my God.
I have not read Of Mice and Men. The more I hear about it, the more I know I really do need to read it.
I kind of love it, I think. Like, I was made to read it in high school, and I didn't really read it all the way through, but I watched the movie, and I'm like... and then I think we ended up, like, reading through the book, like, as a class or something, so
Okay.
But, yeah, that happens in the book. And the movie, actually. Keeping his hand in Vaseline, soft for his wife. That reminds me of something Brian Koo would try to do. Except his wife is his own penis. So, or his hand, or whatever. You know what I mean. He's fucking himself.
He's keeping his wife soft.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, God. Okay.
I feel bad. Making fun of Brian Koo. It's
so easy.
It's shooting fish in a barrel, man. This poor guy.
We'll get back to him, though. He's got more. Because we meet him, and he's like just ADD-ing out. He's just fucking yammering like we are right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to go have 10 eggs and 10 bacons and 4 pancakes, and I do this every day. I retired from this really good job in California or wherever the fuck I'm from to move out here.
So that he
to
could
the Midwest.
Be right next to this place that he can get official rankings at Twin Galaxies by playing on their machines. You
know what he does? He works at a place like Wonderland. He's like the go-kart operator guy.
Now? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's what as of like 2020, I think.
You're not speculating.
No.
You're saying actual fact he works at a place like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
According to this article that I
anymore.
found. Yeah. Let's talk about Steve Wiebe again. He's going he has this Donkey Kong Jr. specifically cabinet in his garage, but it has a Donkey Kong board in it that he got from somebody that we'll talk about here in a minute. I couldn't find the video. I wanted to find the fucking video, but I couldn't find it. Mr. Awesome's Guide on How to Pick Up Chicks or whatever it was.
That is a video I would absolutely take the time to watch start to finish.
Oh yeah, I tried to find it. Doesn't exist. Made me sad. But so Steve Wiebe,
it exists. It just doesn't. It's not online and readily available to find.
So Steve Wiebe has a camera set up to record his progress on Donkey Kong, and he's doing it right. He's playing. He's having a really good game. This is where I started to hate him. This guy is such a piece of shit in this moment. I fucking hate it. I want to stab him in the face.
Please do not tell me it's the kid whining in the back.
Yes.
Fuck you.
No. That is...
I'm sorry. As a dad who was there with the 3-year-old growing up, whining, they do that shit all the time.
That kid was in need of something in that moment. He needed his dad to wipe his butt. Who knows how long the dad has been playing that fucking game for? My guess is it's a long time, because context here, the kid's like, stop playing Donkey Kong, which means that kid knows exactly why he's being neglected right now.
Okay, in fairness, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. It is possible.
The kid kept screaming, you need to wipe my butt. You need to wipe my butt. He's fucking 3 years old. He can't quite figure it out himself. It's time. You need to fucking be a parent, maybe. Maybe do that shit when the kids go to bed.
That would be better, yes.
You are a piece of shit parent, and you should go fuck yourself.
He's not a piece of shit parent. Every parent has piece of shit moments.
Then he says, Shh, you're going to be in trouble if you don't stop whining at me to do something for you that you fucking need me to do for you, because you are a child and it's my job to make sure that this gets done for you. I'm going to take away stuff if you don't stop whining.
Hey, I'm not saying that that's the right move. It's clearly not the right move, but
he's an asshole.
That doesn't make you an asshole. Every parent has that. Every parent has 100 moments like that.
I get that.
His just happened to be on camera.
But that's what makes me hate him. And then he doesn't get redeemed, but I hate him less by the end of the movie. That is such a fucking dumb thing. And for a video game,
I'm not trying to say it's right. It's clearly not right
for a fucking video game.
I'm just saying anybody who's been there in that moment, been in that position.
I've been there.
You know,
we've all been there.
You know that you've been just as much of a piece of shit too.
But if your kid was in dire need and screaming at you for something that he needs, the wife is obviously not there, and she also needs your fucking help every once in a while, and you have obviously been playing this game not working. You don't have a job right now. All you do is hang out in the garage.
No, he has a job. Kong. He has a job.
Not yet.
Yeah, he has a job.
He doesn't. He's not the teacher yet.
No, he was the teacher at that point.
He hadn't gotten the teaching job yet. That happens later in the narrative, at least.
Yeah, they get to it later in the narrative, but he's been doing it longer than that. He had a whole period where he went to college. He became a teacher. You know,
did he actually have the job? I know he went to college, but did he actually have the job while all this was going on?
That was the impression that I got, was that he had the job. He was working days, and then he'd come home and he would do this at night. And his wife even said, you had to do it after the kids went to bed. That was what it just happened that one time he wasn't doing it after.
It wasn't that one time.
I'm not saying that was the only time.
If he caught it on camera,
I'm not saying it was the only time.
Definitely not that one time.
I'm not saying it was the only time. I'm saying that, okay, people get caught up in their passions. I've done it. You've done it.
Even his daughter later is like, people ruin their lives for the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's right, okay? I'm not saying it's right. But I'm saying you're just as much of a piece of shit. I'm just as much of a piece of shit. And we need to lay off the dude for that.
But I didn't have kids.
Call it what it is.
I didn't have kids to neglect when I was doing shit.
Call it what it is. But don't pretend like we're not all the same level of guy. The nicest guy in the world is a piece of shit sometimes.
I was smart enough not to have children of my own,
which I respect you for.
So I could do shit like that. And now they're old enough, I can neglect them all I want. They can figure their own shit out. If they ask me to wipe their butt, no, because they're 12.
That would be weird.
I'll wipe your butt because you're old. It's about time that somebody's going to have to start helping you with that.
Fuck you. Just last night I had this young fucking kid who I like a lot. I like his comedy. He's really fucking funny. Named Cole Donovan. He was talking shit about some guy. I can't remember who it was, but he's like, yeah, and that guy's like really old. He's like 35. And I was like, fuck you little piece of shit. I'm 45. That guy's a decade younger than me. He's not really old. So like, I'm not typically too sensitive about my age. I realize I'm middle-aged. I'm past my prime. Okay, fine. But don't call me really fucking old. Don't call a 35-year-old really old.
So here's something you got to understand, right? He was telling a joke.
No,
I need to explain.
He wasn't telling.
I need to explain it to Grandpa over here.
No, this kid wasn't telling a joke because when I called him on it, he was like, "Oh shit!" He didn't realize I was that much older than the guy.
I think
because I look younger than I am.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
The gray helps age me up, but like in the eyes and face, I got very few crow's feet, you know.
You
stuff
look
like that.
54.
Fuck you. If I look 54, you look 45.
I look 16 with gray hair. Children will make you go gray.
That's true. That is 100% true.
And podcasting does it also.
That's why you got, you know, the level of gray that you have is because it's not biological, but you still got the children influence, so you're still getting the gray.
Yeah,
but it's not full blown yet.
I came in when I didn't have to wipe their butts anymore, so
smart.
I win. I can play video games all day.
Smart.
I can't play video games all day because I work and I have to do this shit.
Have to I'm at
work
this
right
wasn't
now.
Entirely your idea.
It wasn't. It was Rachel's idea.
Nobody's forcing you to do this. You could literally quit at any time and no one would care. I would care a little bit because this is like my version of therapy that I don't have to pay for. But even I would understand.
I can make you pay for it. It's like $100-some a year to keep the shit posted all year forever. Anyways, fuck you, Steve Wiebe. In that moment, you scored 1,000,000 points or whatever, over 1,000,000 points. At which the score counter like flips to 0, and then it like flips to however many several thousand points you get after.
Yeah.
So the ref is a fucking weirdo with his transcendental meditation. This dude's weird. He wants to be a singer and a transcendental metal meditation guy.
He's singing these rock songs he wrote, and he's like, these have like a lot of guitar parts and stuff. And it's like, oh, dude.
Oh, and I wrote this down. So
this is why I'm pursuing comedy now, so that I don't become this guy talking about how I was going to be a comedian and then doing like, you know, like shitty one-liners for people.
That's what you're doing right now.
No, but I'm actually building my ability to be a comedian. I'm out there. I'm on stage. I'm learning. I'm improving. Because honestly, I could see myself in 20 years being this dude.
Yes, you are that dude. I've seen you transcendentally meditate.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
But you tell people that you're floating, but really you're just clenching your butt cheeks really hard, and you're floating like a fraction of an inch off the ground.
I'm farting very aggressively.
So Steve Saunders is the lawyer, by the way. He says, and I had to rewind this to make sure I heard it right. I can't remember the whole quote, but he says, video games need a guy like Bush. And I'm like, wait, like a no-nonsense guy, right? That'll tell it like it is. And I'm like, wait.
Why am I not surprised that this guy bought into Bush?
Did he say that? I had to rewind it, and I'm like, yes, he did say that. And like, he's not talking about Gavin Rossdale, I imagine.
No, he's talking about George W. Bush.
Maybe he was talking about Jed.
No, he's talking about, he might be, because they live in Florida. He might be talking about Jeb.
Jeb, not Jed.
Jeb, not Jed. Jeb.
Some cousin fucking name, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, yes, he is a pink polo shirt wearing fucking, he definitely voted for Trump.
From Florida.
From Florida. Fuck Florida.
Probably voted for Ron DeSantis, too.
The dude who has to verify all these scores looks like a fucking crazy person, but I don't.
That's true.
I don't envy this job. He has like hundreds of these VHS tapes that people send in from all over the world.
You would have to be a crazy person to do this.
Oh my god! And he's like, dude, it's so cool though. I see records broken every day. Like, get a girlfriend.
Like, no, it's kind of the opposite of cool. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm very happy for him that he gets to enjoy that, but it's not cool.
And now, especially not in 2024, when we can literally go to YouTube and be like, record-breaking video game run.
Yeah, but people are. That's the thing, though. Like, what he did is he watched out for people who were cheating him. For a minute there, I watched like a few really amazing like NES speedruns and stuff. And so YouTube decided I loved speedruns and stuff. So it started pumping them at me. And there are so many really shitty cobbled together ones that are made out of 247,000 different little snippets where somebody went through a section really fast. So yeah, I mean, there's actually, for what they were doing, there is value to what that guy was doing.
And I don't give two shits about a speed run.
That's fair.
That is not impressive at all. Like, it's kind of cool.
The Mario 3 speed run I watched was genuinely impressive because the guy just wasn't just fast. He was also incredibly skilled. You know, the cannonball level in like 8-2 or something like that is a slow moving procession of cannons. He does that one without touching the ground.
Do you think that I have made it that far on Mario 3? No, I have not. I'm really bad at that game. It's really fucking hard.
That's the easiest of the NES Marios.
I disagree.
I haven't beaten it.
I 1000%
but I've gotten the farthest
disagree.
on it.
The first one is probably. I like that they knocked it out of the park like the first time around, so they could only like improve on it later. Like they can only make what was already perfect like better.
They made it a perfect version of what it was, but then they took what it was and changed it so that they could make it better. Yeah, those first probably the first
I like Super Mario 2
5
also.
Mario games or something like that. Like I like Super Mario 2 as well.
4. I would go with the first 4. Well,
Mario 2, Mario 3, Mario World, and Mario 64.
yeah. Okay, 5. Yeah, you're right.
Every single one of those was a masterpiece.
Pretty much perfect. Yeah.
Honestly, I think Mario Sunshine was too, though a lot of
Hard.
people disagree with me.
That game is so hard.
And I think Mario Galaxy was.
Didn't play that one yet, even though I have it on that fucking thing.
Oh, you owe it to yourself. That game's fantastic.
I gave up after I played Super Mario Sunshine for a while, and I'm like, this is fucking impossible. What the fuck are they doing?
I 100%ed Mario Sunshine.
Why is this NES hard? What the hell's happening right now? How the fuck do you do that?
That's one of the
can't.
few games I've 100%ed.
I can't do it.
Like truly 100%. I found every single blue coin. In fairness, I did look it up.
I have a platinum trophy on Spider-Man, so I did that.
Really? That's impressive.
It was an accident. I was like playing through it like a few months, like maybe less than a year ago, and then I'm like, I was just looking at the trophies, like, oh, what do I have to do? I'm like, oh shit, all I have to do is like find Uncle Ben's grave. What the fuck? That was like the only one I hadn't done.
You just accidentally gotten every single other one.
Yeah, because it's really easy.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which
fuck you then. I don't respect you.
Which I love that about Insomniac games. They're like just hard enough to be like sort of challenging, but they're also easy
They're crazy
enough.
fun.
Yeah, that's what
crazy
they're for.
fun.
That's why the Ratchet and Clank games are so much fun, because when you kind of struggle your way through it the first time, because it's harder because your weapons aren't upgraded, you can't get as many bolts and stuff.
Yeah.
But then you go at least from 2 on, and you go through it again. You're racking up bolts, you're blowing the shit out of everybody because your weapons get upgraded, and it gets fucking ridiculous. And you collect all the gold bolts, and you upgrade your weapon and shit. It's insane.
For the listener, we were having a conversation off mic about Ratchet and Clank.
I will talk about Ratchet and Clank
in
forever.
case he decides to leave that in.
Mr. Awesome. Let's talk about Mr. Awesome. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about Mr. Awesome other than he's a fucking creep and we'll fucking...
In fairness, Mr. Awesome seems sort of like an anti-Billy Mitchell, which is to say not likable at all, but on the other side of it. So I can't root for either of these guys.
No, but this guy's actually seen a vagina before, I think.
You get that impression, but
he's
again,
like a
just like with
bodybuilder.
Billy Mitchell, I don't know.
He's like a bodybuilder, but he also has, what is it? We can make fun of him, blah, blah. Mr. Awesome's guide to like girls, and this is how you get a gnarly piece of poontang. I'm like, excuse me, sir?
Oh, he's dressed as Patton.
Yeah.
In that
Oh,
segment.
good God.
Like he's rallying the troops. He's in front of the big American flag, the whole 9 yards. It's so ridiculous.
So he's like him and Billy Mitchell are like rivals. They kind of don't love each other, which is demonstrated very clearly in this next part where Steve Wiebe sends in his tape of him scoring, over 1 million points. The creepy dude is watching, giggling at his son fucking crying due to neglect, which is child abuse, just so everybody knows. But Billy, I think it's Billy's whole thing. He's like, figure out what the fuck that guy did to get that high score, because that's not possible. No way. So these assholes send a bunch of dudes.
Two dudes.
Two dudes. That 2 dudes is too many dudes for this.
One was the
Koo.
guy. Koo. And the other, who was the other one?
I can't remember, but it was a creepy guy. They're all creepy. They're all fucking weird because they show up at the house, and I don't think Steve is home.
No, Steve was not home, and his wife was like, listen, you need to wait until Steve gets home.
Yes.
I have to leave. My mother's here. You wait until Steve gets home. And they did not. They kept bugging her mom until she let him inspect the machine. So very creepy. Right,
it's
off
one of
the
those.
bat.
Do you ever get that pre-rape feeling?
Yeah, very, very invasive. Not cool. Those guys would have been lucky I didn't punch them out if I came home.
No shit.
And especially those guys who are very clearly way below me on the threat ability scale, but way above me on the creep scale. Yeah, I would have totally punched a couple of guys out.
So these 2 fucking losers tear apart his Donkey Kong machine to pull out the board, and it turns out they found the box that the board came in, the shipping box, and it turns out it has Mr. Awesome's address on it. And as we know, Billy Mitchell doesn't like Mr. Awesome, So Billy Mitchell essentially has the score thrown out. But the dude who watches all the tapes is looking at like these pictures. He's like, yeah, there's like this little gummy substance, and it's like slightly to the left of where it's supposed to be. So that means it's a phony board, and he cheated.
His line is, if I'm recalling correctly, there's definitely a conspiracy.
Oh, there's definitely
here.
a conspiracy. Oh my God. I immediately go, these guys are all 9/11 truthers for sure. They all definitely say that everything they don't understand is woke.
Today, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my. Billy says, I'm not God, so I have to be careful how I share my opinions. I wonder who he voted for.
And then proceeds to share his opinions aggressively.
So, Steve Wiebe gets invited to a tournament to show that he can actually get this score in public, because Billy is all about the public scores. Keep this in mind for later.
Billy is definitely a Republican, and a perfect Republican in that sense of when he stands to gain from it, he's very demanding of public scores. And then as soon as he stands to gain from not having the public, from sending in a tape, he sends in a tape.
You can be a loser and also successful at something, right?
I'll tell you why I like Steve Wiebe, because he even has that thing at the end where he's like, I don't mind losing. I just wish he'd come in and beat me straight up.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I started to come around too.
Yeah.
Like, he did that thing that's really fucked up and he shouldn't do it, but now it doesn't matter because his kid's like 30. But fuck. Yeah. This is so dumb. And then it gets even dumber, and I started laughing my ass off at this point because you're the best. Starts playing.
You're the best. That's right.
While all these assholes are like preparing for the tournament. Oh my God. And then the first thing we see when we get there is Q angrily throwing shit in a tub, and then
that wasn't cool.
Was it not? I think it. I
don't think.
I think it
cool.
was because it cut directly to him after that happened.
I thought he was dressed differently.
Well, they didn't shoot this all in one day.
I thought it was. I thought the thing at that place was a one day thing.
Either way, it was some dork.
I don't think it was.
It looked a lot like him, but it's just this angry dork fucking slamming his trunk.
He
and
was
like
so
flailing.
pissed though. He set off like his car, or like the car next to him's the alarm.
Was funny.
Angry dorks, man.
And then, of course, the Weeb, he leaves a message on Billy's machine saying, "Hey, man, you're gonna be there, right? Let's fucking do this for real." And no, he's not.
Spoiler alert for the whole movie: we never see Billy Mitchell actually throw down.
No,
he sends in a tape once.
Yeah. Well, we don't really. Do we ever see him like actually actively playing the game?
No, we never see him play a game.
Huh. Well, we do meet this old lady named Doris Self. She is fucking adorable. She's trying to regain her high score on Q*bert that apparently she won 20 years prior to this.
Yeah.
At 60 fucking years old. She's 80 years old in the movie.
She's pretty awesome. I gotta say, I like her right away. I'm just like, this lady seems fun. And she even says, like, she's that age where she's just like, don't give a fuck. Because Billy Mitchell likes her. Billy Mitchell is, kind of her friend. This is what makes me think like Billy Mitchell is probably one of those guys who, if you're friends with him, he's probably fine. He's probably a cool guy. Like he's probably cool to you. And, I mean, his buddy, is his buddy's name Steve too?
Yeah.
His buddy Steve, in an interview after this movie came out, said about him, I'm not guaranteeing I'm quoting this right, but it's something in the neighborhood of, yes, everything that happened in that movie happened, but that doesn't give you a picture of the guy I know.
That's fair. So yeah, no, I'm definitely judging him by a little bit of what I've heard recently, and the guy in the movie who is a giant tool.
The guy in the movie is a gargantuan tool, and according to the filmmakers, they actually toned him down.
Oh my!
That's what they said. They said no, believe me, some of it was too cartoonish to even put in the movie. Anyway, getting back to the lady, she even has this cutaway moment because, like I said, she's of that age of like doesn't give a fuck. And Billy's her friend, but she's like, yeah, Billy's a very devious guy. He's always got a plan.
Yeah, that's right. Even she knows. She doesn't give a fuck at this point. By the by, the only person who has any business spending this much goddamn time playing video games.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. She's solidly out of the worrying about anything else stage of her life. I think it's super cool that she's still playing Q*bert at that age.
Oh, no, that's great.
That's pretty awesome.
And Billy is nice enough to like give her a Q*bert machine later. So like you said, he's probably like a cool dude to like a certain. He's like Dooley, like you said, my dog.
Like to your
cool to a couple people that he's close to.
If you're one of his friends, he's probably pretty cool. He's probably still a tool, but like we all have friends who are tools.
Yeah, I'm looking at him.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And so I don't know what this is referring to, so I probably should have put a little more context in there, but my next note is Brian Q is a fucking dork.
That's every fucking scene with this
I'm going to
guy.
hammer it home every time because I didn't like him. Like,
No.
I think he's my least favorite person in the whole show.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like, at least Billy, like Billy's a tool, but
I get where he's coming from, but like...
He's got accomplishments behind him. Like, Billy's a tool, but he earned that being a tool to a degree. Like, he set records back in the 80s. Like, he really did that. That was not a con. Whatever else has gone on in his life that is a con, he set those records in his 20s, or his teens or whatever it was. So, he actually did something to be a tool. This guy's just a tool. He's like, he refers to himself as the prodigy.
The prodigy.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Everyone thinks the Donkey Kong cabinet at this place is fucking possessed. Because apparently, it's sort of random sometimes. Like I said, every board is just like slightly different.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's true or not.
The way Q is Q, not Q.
It's Q.
No, the way he's like fucking with Steve while he's playing the cabinet, like he's standing right next to him, like, well, he got pretty lucky. I mean, that random drop, which probably would have taken most people out. He got pretty lucky that it went the other way, so like he could have died there and he could have died here and he could have died there. So he got pretty lucky just talking mad shit right next to this dude while he's playing his game.
Yep. And it's just staring at him. He's talking to Billy the entire time on the phone. Billy's at his house, like fucking hanging out, which is apparently not that far away from the arcade that they're having this contest at.
Are you sure that?
Or that might be the next one.
Yeah, it's the next one is like he's like literally 10 miles away. The champion or the Guinness one, he's literally 10 miles away from that one.
But Koo is still following him around, fucking on the phone, going, "Okay, he's got this many points," and then Billy's like, "Okay," very serious.
I get the feeling that those shots were staged, not Koo. Those shots were real. But the Billy side of those, I get the feeling those were staged.
Billy sends Doris to the tournament to reclaim her score, but he sends her with a tape that you need to guard with your life. You can die, but make sure that tape survives.
You can lose your life. Don't lose.
Oh my god,
tape.
that's how we put it. So there's this thing called the kill screen. This is a big deal. Apparently, when you get to level 22 of Donkey Kong, the memory just kind of flakes out on the board because it can't handle it anymore, and you play for about 5 seconds, and then you die, and that's like the end of the game.
This actually became a bit of a cultural meme for a while. I guess they
Really?
they had like a Simpsons joke where like in the middle of like some sequence, Koo walks through the screen going, "Hey, there's a Donkey Kong kill screen coming up in the other room. You want to see
I
it?"
would not have gotten that. Holy shit. Until now, because this is the first time I've seen this. That's really funny. I love weird little jokes like that. So apparently he is the third, Weeby will be the third person as of 2006, whenever, to get a kill screen in public. And it's impressive. And yeah, Koo is walking around. Hey, there's a Donkey Kong kill screen coming up in a minute. If you're interested.
He goes around the entire arcade.
Arcade. And by the time it happens, he does have a fucking crowd.
He did draw people.
Yeah. That's my next note. Fucking Billy.
This is a really shitty thing to do.
This is the shittiest thing. And this is where I'm like, yeah, he's kind of a tool, whatever.
Yeah.
He's kind of a dickhead. And I don't like his fucking like face. This is where I flipped and I'm like, what a fucking douchey piece of shit. The tape has Billy's over 1 million score. That the one that they threw away because Weeby sent in the tape, and you need to be there. You need to be there in person. It doesn't count unless you're in person.
Yeah. So Billy recorded himself getting 1 million score, and the tape admittedly looks a little suspect. I'm not going to say it's fake.
I don't tell.
Know.
But that's what the lawsuit's been about all these years.
There's a lawsuit.
Oh, you didn't know about the lawsuit?
No.
Yeah, they removed his high score because it looked like they said it looked like he tampered with the tape and was using a MAME emulator. So it wasn't technically legit because he wasn't playing on an actual arcade cabinet.
Yeah, I know Twin Galaxies has some pretty.
They're
very clear in this movie that they have rules about that. And
this was a recent lawsuit, by the way, within the last 7 years.
Okay.
So apparently the claim is that he didn't actually, it doesn't count, and they removed his scores because it looks like it was like cut together on a MAME emulator because they figured it out due to the loading screens and like the in between stuff and how the levels like.
Well, the thing that made me wonder about that
All
is
the static.
no, the angle. It's framed
where they're-
so perfectly.
Yeah.
The framing is so perfect that the camera would have had to have been right in front of the screen.
That's another. Yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, what the fuck. So the Billy lost the lawsuit. I don't know the details exactly. So he wasn't reinstated. Like the score wasn't reinstated completely, but he in his head it is. But it's back on their website, just not on the official actual like leaderboard thing. So yeah, there was a lawsuit between him and Twin Galaxies, and
Oh, really? Between them, because he was like one of the Twin Galaxies guys.
because they're the official scorekeepers.
He's a tool. Like even if he's not nefarious, he's still a giant tool. That walkthrough at the final competition,
God damn it.
that was the
Yeah.
douchiest fucking thing in the world.
Oh, okay. So in February of 2018, Donkey Kong Forum's Jeremy Young analyzed footage from many of Mitchell's record-setting Donkey Kong runs and concluded they were played on an emulator, not an arcade cabinet. In response, Donkey Kong Forum stripped Mitchell of his high scores. Twin Galaxies and the Guinness World Records soon followed suit. Mitchell continued to plead his innocence and even pursued legal action, yet much of the gaming world branded him as a liar and a cheat. Mitchell struggled for years to clear his name, and on June 17th, 2020, Guinness World Records announced the decision to reverse its 2018 ruling due to compelling new evidence. I don't know what that means. Mitchell's high scores have been reinstated, and he is once again recognized as the first gamer to reach the kill screen on Donkey Kong and first gamer to score 1 million points on Donkey Kong. This movie places Guinness World Records in conflict with Twin Galaxies, which remains embroiled in a defamation suit with Mitchell. That is from an article on svg.com written by a guy named Christopher Gates. Just in case anybody comes at me for reading shit.
Who brought the defamation suit? Mitchell or Twin Galaxies? Because it seems like they both might have equal claim there.
I think it said from Mitchell.
Okay. Because yeah, I mean, if Mitchell, if they stripped his title and then Mitchell's like, no, it's legit, you guys are fucking me over, like, you know, it could go either way. They could be like, no, you're defaming us by questioning the legitimacy of our process. And the crazy part about it is the stakes are so low in this. Like, if you think about it.
Though what stakes?
Exactly. Bragging rights about an old video game. I mean, yes, takes skill. They are hard, but who cares?
Continuing on, so the tape, you know, the fucking score, the million points, whatever. And Billy doesn't want Steve Wiebe, to see this tape. Steve is like, can I see the tape? I just want to see it. It'd be cool.
Yeah, they played it while he was doing his run.
Yeah.
And then they're like, nope, it was a one show.
Yeah, it was a one-time show,
One-time
guys.
show.
Fucking stupid. And then I really like this next thing. Walter is the referee guy, and he's like, we're entering this in the internet right now. He says that. We're entering this into the internet. And I'm like, he sounds like fucking Johnny. Send it to the internet.
Put a hash brown on it.
Put a hash brown on it. Then we cut to 9 months later back in Washington. And that's where that ends. Weeby's just kind of back in his garage fucking around.
The end.
Kinda. For a minute.
Nothing else happened. No,
This is where we get, you know, Walter the ref and his shitty music.
A lot of my songs are like big rock songs with lots of guitars in them, lots of layers of vocals. Here's one called 3 Lies. I'm going to sing this to you guys in the midst of this cold summer day. This is who I really am. I'm some guy out there who's supposed to be an artist who's up there just getting wild and crazy. Didn't I tell you, never not to lie? Because I'm being Mr. Scorekeeper, and I've been doing it for 25 years, so there's all these automaton things that get turned on. Okay, yes, and the reason for this is that. The reason for that is this, you know. And then I'm ready to let it go. Lies are more than plenty, but 3 lies I'll probably be saying goodbye, love.
That's fair.
Now, okay, let's get back to more Billy.
This guy thinks
douchebaggery.
he's like the next Rush, and he's
He
just on an acoustic
does.
guitar in front of a barn.
The song itself would have been okay if he
Probably
wasn't.
fine,
if
but
he
he's
wasn't
not
like,
a good singer.
he's a-
I mean, I have heard worse, but he's not good.
But again, with the confidence, man, his little centipede's got to be getting a little attention, right? Chicks love white guys with acoustic guitars.
Or maybe, you know, he's into transcendental meditation. Maybe he's like one of those
Really flexible dudes.
No. What do you call it? The thing Sting does.
Tantra?
Tantra. Yeah, maybe he's into that too. like storing up his jizz until he like blows it in a 17-hour orgasm.
Let's talk about some more Billy douchebaggery. His initials.
Oh my God. This is the scene that I was introduced to Billy Mitchell.
Oh God.
My brothers were telling me about this movie, and they were like, "No, you got to watch this movie. It's something else." This guy, he says things like this, and then they proceeded to quote that to me, and I was like, "All right, you're right. I have to see this."
So somebody asks him. I don't know if they asked him like what his initials are when he puts in his initials on a game, because you're only allowed 3 letters.
What's
right?
your handle?
Your handle, yeah. He's like, look at me.
Yeah. When people ask me what my handle is, I tell them to look at me.
If you don't know, you're not looking hard enough.
You're not looking hard enough. And he says it like that.
Like he's fucking Dirty Harry.
Like he's coming up with the coolest fucking line you've ever heard.
And all
he
it
commits.
is his douchebaggy fucking.
And he slides his hand down his tie as he
American
says it.
flag tie.
No, it wasn't. It's in Statue of Liberty.
Oh, okay. He was wearing an American flag tie in another scene prior to that. USA. Those are his initials. Because I have friends in like Russia and wherever else. I have to keep America on top. I fucking hate this guy so much. Even if he's not like a complete douchebag in real life, I know he actually said that.
Yeah, he said that unironically. Yeah.
And the Guinness Book of World Records gets involved.
The Guinness Book, they contact Twin Galaxies and say that they want them to become their official vetting.
Yeah.
Basically, their official vetting process for the Guinness Book of World Records video games division.
And then all that did for me was like, wasn't there a fucking... It took me to Ripley's Believe It or Not for some reason. I'm like, wasn't there a Ripley's Believe It or Not cartoon show? But
that's
anyways,
a very random piece of trivia that didn't have anything to do with what we were just talking about. But,
well, I was thinking,
but that's where your brain went, so it's a fair.
No, it
fair
like
cop.
because I got him confused the other day. I'm like Guinness Ripley's Believe. Oh wait, Ripley Believe It or Not. That was a fucking. Dean Cain hosted a show on like TBS, and there was also a cartoon.
Oh yeah, I forgot Dean Cain hosted the revival of that show. No, that Ripley's Believe It or Not. When I was a kid, like before you were born, there was a Ripley's Believe It or Not show, and I used to watch that religiously because they had all kinds of weird stuff on there.
You know what show I used to watch when I was a kid? Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
Yep.
With what's his name?
Was that the one with Frakes?
Yeah,
Jonathan Frakes. Yeah, that's a good one.
Fucking Goliath from Gargoyles.
That's basically like the 90s version of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah, exactly. And some of those stories are so fucking dumb. They say it's true because like somebody told a story about this actually happening. I'm like, you're full of shit. The only reason this works at all is because of your voice, sir.
I love the supercuts of Frakes just asking questions to the camera.
That's such a dumb fucking show. And I love it. I can't.
It's great.
Eye of the Tiger plays now.
I knew you were going to have to mention that.
Because everybody's training for this second competition that Steve Wiebe got invited to.
Oh yeah, so basically the Twin Galaxies guy, he announces to everybody that they're going to have basically like a big game off to try and reach high scores that will then be submitted to the Guinness Book of World
Records. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why the Guinness Book is fucking... I even have that in my goddamn notes. Why didn't I just say that? Jesus. Anyways, this time the weeb takes his entire fucking family down to this place.
Which is cool, family vacation. That's awesome.
It's great. And he makes such a good point later about this. And when Billy doesn't show up, I'm like, I'm on your side now. All you have to do is not be a fucking child abuser, in a way.
Say it like it's his defining characteristic.
Well, it's all I knew about him up until this point. So he's like 10 hours. I came 10 hours, but we'll get to that here in a second.
He says I came 3,000 miles.
Yeah, 3,000 miles. He can't come.
You can come 10.
And he's getting driven down to the arcade, and he's telling his daughter, he's like, yeah, the high score of this is going to get into the Guinness Book of World Records. And she says she's wise beyond her years. Some people ruin their lives to get into that book.
and they kind of linger on it for a second as he has this contemplative moment.
He's like, yeah.
He's like, huh.
Years of therapy for everybody. And then there's just like a montage of these freaks playing these games. What is this fucking asshole doing? Taking off his shoe and playing with his foot.
Oh, was he playing like 720 or Marble Madness or something?
It was a rollerball.
Yeah. How does that guy not get kicked right out of the arcade?
Yeah, for being fucking gross.
Yuck. That's
then,
not classy.
And then we learn about that other dude's glove. He's like, it's got padding, so with the roller ball, because he was like, it was like asteroids or something.
No, it was Marble Madness, he said.
Oh, was it Marble Madness?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, yeah, you can play Marble Madness for days with this thing. This guy, he's wearing the one fingerless glove. He's super tall, and he's bending over the machine in a way that makes it look like he's going to become one of the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal when he gets older. Like he's only got a year or two left to save his spine at this rate.
Billy then, he drops off his fucking boyfriend. He drops off his boyfriend. And then he drives away, and everybody's like, was that Billy? And then Steve's like, yeah. Oh, God.
And then Steve meets Steve.
Steve meets Steve. This is where like they officially meet, but now he's spying and telling Billy like, this is the score. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. And then,
but Steve comes around to him.
Yeah,
he comes around and he's like, I don't have any. At the end, like obviously this is after the fact, after the whole drama's unfolded. But he's like, I don't have any question about this guy's integrity. He's a good guy. And then Billy's like, I don't know enough about him.
I don't think he's that fucking cool. Fuck you. You're supposed to think I'm the cool one.
Billy's ego, like whatever. I don't know what he's gotten up to. I'm not going to claim to know what he's gotten up to, but his fragile fucking ego is on full display in this movie.
Is his hair real?
I mean, it looks very much like the hair he had when he was a young man in terms of like the way it falls and stuff. So I would speculate it probably is.
Is it real now?
Now, probably not. Because we're 18 years down the line from that. He was, I'm going to say, at least 15 years older than I am. So he's pushing 60.
So this is like a 4-day tournament or something.
Yeah. Steve's there for 4 days. And
on the last day, the very, very last day, Billy finally shows up.
In the douchiest way possible.
He just shows up, kind of hands in his pockets, just walking around.
No, holding his wife's hand.
Oh, because his wife is super hot. That's right.
And credit where credit is due. His wife is super hot.
Fuck, I forgot
about
her.
And he walks up to him, and Steve is like, hey, Billy. But he's in the middle of a game.
He literally says, hey, Billy.
And then Billy watches him play for a few seconds and then walks away, leans over to his wife, and way too fucking loudly says, there are just some people I don't want to spend too much time around.
I do think it's kind of cute how Steve says hi to Billy. I don't know why. There's something about it. It's like, hey, Billy.
He says it like he's a third grader. It is funny the way he says that though. Like he really says it like a third grader. Like they had a fight. Yeah. But he's just like, hey, Billy.
Let's be buddies. I think he just isn't an asshole, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, you can be a rival with somebody and not be a dick.
I did hear that it was like a little more friendly than what was portrayed in the movie, but
well, I would hope they were just playing it up for drama, because if it was really that bad, Jesus Christ.
So we get an interesting little factoid from his wife, Billy's wife. She says she's legitimately never seen him compete head to head in public with anybody.
Yeah.
So someone might be a little full of shit. A little bit. It's
the thing. Like, if he had never been so aggressively, you got to compete in front of people. That's where it's been. And like, he's very aggressive about that. And they cut back to it. If he had never said that shit, it would be fine if he was just an introverted guy who just got nerves and wanted to play in his basement,
Yeah. But
like, it would be fine, but he's a dick about it.
Yeah.
And so it's not fine.
Too busy jerking off with his hot sauce. I want to try his hot sauce.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Maybe he's really good at hot sauce. Who knows?
He has a douche about it, though. You see him several times, like in stores, like pushing other brands back,
shoving other
towards
brands
the back of the
to
shelf,
side,
and
spreading his out real wide.
Which I don't think you're supposed to do. So if you get caught, I imagine that had to have been fake. Like,
he might have been doing it as a joke.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, but it doesn't come off as one based on how they're painting him in this movie. That's for sure.
Kirsten Dunst could totally play him in a biopic because they both share the same dead eyes.
You and your fucking. Is that ever gonna stop? Is that the only way you see Kirsten Dunst now?
That is officially the only way I see Kirsten Dunst, unless she's in Spider-Man in that rain scene.
She's such a better actress than you give her credit for.
She really is. She was really good in Civil War and shit. So
I haven't seen Civil War yet, so I cannot comment on that.
I give her shit, but I actually quite like her. I know. I do. I have no issues with her.
I know she can do the dead eyes, obviously, but she's better than that.
At least, and in Civil War they work for that character also.
Yeah.
She still has them, but it's like, ooh, yeah, anybody would.
Well, yeah, that's sort of like a haunted
Yeah.
trauma response thing is what I gather anyway.
It's such a good movie. I started listening to The Beach, just to sidetrack a little bit more. Boy, I wonder why that movie failed a little bit when it came out.
Is pretty grim and cynical.
Well, and I'm like, oh, I'm curious. Like, I'm going to go watch the trailer real quick. And I'm like halfway through the book. And I'm like, wait. None of this shit is happening. What the fuck is going on? This is not an action book. Why is this trailer? It seems almost like they're going for a romance and then there's action. What the hell's happening right now? It was weird. I totally understand why nobody went to see it.
The movie is not at all what they portray in the trailer.
That is, I'm getting that impression. And
Yeah.
that I remember hearing a lot about that. Like, people are like, wow, it's weird. It's not.
It wasn't what anybody expected going in, which I think is what put me off to it at the time. I do want to give it another chance because Alex Garland is a good writer.
Yeah,
Danny Boyle is a good director.
You were doing what everybody else was doing. You
Yeah.
saw, Johnny Depp was in Titanic. You'd think that that's what his next big movie is going to be.
You mean Leonardo DiCaprio?
I get them fucking confused, and I have no idea why. There is literally no reason I should confuse those two.
There's so little crossover between those guys. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. Anyways, Leonardo DiCaprio, yes. And it wasn't his next movie. I'm sure he did stuff like after, in between that and Titanic, but like that was supposed to be like his big like.
It was a very close thing.
Yeah, it was in 2000.
It might have been his next movie. I'm not
Titanic
sure.
was 97. That was 2000. It was him trying to.
It was that far apart? Oh,
yeah. It was him trying to, and I thought it was like closer to it also. But I remember it was him like trying to break away from that Titanic thing.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted him to do that. And it took him a little while to get there.
Yeah, they were kind of trying to sell it as a bigger movie than it was.
And I didn't know Danny Boyle directed it, but the second I heard that, I'm like, oh, no, I get it now. I totally get, like, the trailer is this action epic that they're... and then they get this weird cerebral fucking thing when they go and watch the movie.
Yeah, it's so not what they painted in the trailer at all.
Anyways, sidetrack. So,
the musical.
At the end of the 4-day tournament, Steve Wiebe has kind of given up. He hasn't performed his best, and he's bummed out a little bit. He hasn't beaten any scores or anything. And his wife has tears in her eyes. She's like, "Yeah, I feel so bad for him because he wanted to do this, and Billy's a fucking dickhead." She wouldn't say that because she's a very nice lady, but she's thinking it. She's fucking thinking it.
She's definitely thinking it.
But she's like proud of him because he tried so hard at something.
She's upset too because she knows it's going to hurt him. I mean, it's like
she likes him or something.
She's very sweet, and my sympathies are definitely with her because Steve is clearly an obsessive guy. He's clearly a guy who like gets on a track, and she's kind of like, well, he has to do this, otherwise it's going to be a problem. For
everybody.
Yeah,
nobody's butts are getting wiped.
He hasn't wiped my butt in weeks. Turns out that's what their family thing is. Steve wipes all the butts.
They just have they have a butt wiping train.
They just line them up.
Everybody wipes each other's butts. It's just like heaven. Which, incidentally, is another Cure song. But something cool happens at the end. Wiebe gets recognized by the Twin Galaxies guys. The referee specifically, he's basically like, you've tried so hard. Billy's being a fucking dick. Like, again,
he doesn't say that.
He didn't say that, but he is on board with that sentiment. You can tell
there is a cutaway where you can see that he's getting pissed off with Billy. He's like, Billy called me. He's got 15 excuses why he can't
that's
came
right.
in, and I gave him 15 reasons why he has to be here.
Yeah, maybe to not be a douche.
Yeah, and
if nothing else.
Yeah, and so you can tell he's getting kind of sick of Billy's shit too. He's kind of the way he is, like he tries to be cool with everything, but he's clearly getting a little irritated with it. But he's got a really nice moment, and then he ends up writing a letter to Steve Wiebe apologizing for the way they treated him early on, and it was nice. It was good. He owed him an apology, and that's good. It's good he did that. I like this ref guy. I'm like, as weird as he is, I think he's
he's got a good heart, if nothing else.
Yeah. Like, he maybe gets a little over defensive about certain things, but that is sort of the position he's put himself in, and that's part of the reputation he's trying to build and defend with the Guinness thing, and all that. So I get why, the problem is he's got a blind spot for Billy. That's the problem.
They are riding his dong so fucking hard early on in this movie.
Well, I'm sure the filmmakers were playing it up to a degree. At
Oh,
least.
absolutely, but like,
yeah.
But there is some legend status, obviously, with this guy because he's like the first person to do some of these
Sure.
things.
And to do many of those
And
things.
I get
So
it.
It's like he didn't just do one. He had a lot of records. He had like 5 or 6 of them.
I get a little hero worship, but like when I'm too cool for something, like
Again, the stakes are so low.
and then we have that scene in the restaurant where Steve Saunders, the lawyer, and Billy are sitting, and Steve is like, "Yeah, dude, Steve Weeby's a cool dude. He's I don't see anything wrong with him. I have no issues with him. He's a nice dude." Basically talking him up and telling him how cool he is. And then of course that's where Billy's like, "I'm cool." I even wrote down, "Jealous much?"
He doesn't say it like that. Like for the audience, if you haven't watched it,
He doesn't actually fold his arms and scrunch his face up.
What he says is, "I don't know him well enough to say," but it's very pouty.
It really is. He is a 5-year-old girl who didn't get her piece of fucking candy. Yeah. Oh my god. And then the credits roll, and then we get, the fucking Animal House ending for a bunch of these guys.
Yeah.
Eventually, this is the important part of
Koo is still chasing his Donkey Kong kill
I didn't
screen.
write that down, but yes, he's still his high score is like what, 200,000 points on Donkey Kong.
No, it's like he got something like 500 or 600,
that's right,
something
yeah.
like that.
Fuck this
So
dude.
I mean, it's an impressive score, but he's not playing at the same level as these guys.
We need a douchebag counter. Not like for douchebags in the movie, but how many times I've called somebody a douchebag or said they're douchey. So yeah.
If anybody wants to write in the number,
Yeah, no shit.
at the Shark Pod.
Crowd participation, people. So the important part of the end credits before the sad important part. Eventually, Weeby fucking beats Billy's score.
Yes, he did.
He gets his fucking million points and he like just beats him by like 2,000 points. Fucking perfect ending.
Yep. It was close and it was sweet.
And then we get a little dedicated to because Doris Self died like the same year the movie came out.
Yeah. Which is very sad, but boy, that gal had a good run. She was no spring chicken, and kudos to her for playing till the end.
She was in her 80s and shit. Yeah, she did all right. We like Doris Self. Probably the most likable human being in the entire thing.
Hell, her and Steve's wife, I think.
Just
probably.
only because I haven't heard her say anything racist. I'm sure she
That's
was a horrible
true.
person.
That's true. She's from Florida, and she was like 80 in 2006. So she grew up in segregation.
So yeah, that's King of Kong, a fistful of fucking quarters. Do we have anything else to say? Any final thoughts on this movie before we go away and leave you guys to jerk off to Billy's hair?
Yeah, man. How we did not bring up the fact that this movie inspired one of my favorite characters in any movie that I absolutely otherwise hate.
That's right, I forgot.
Peter
I know where you're going.
Dinklage.
Yes.
The great Peter Dinklage. And I'm not saying that ironically, because a lot of times when I say the great, I am saying it ironically. But in this case, I'm not saying it ironically.
No, Peter Dinklage
is the shit. Peter Dinklage played a version of Billy Mitchell that is unquestionably based on Billy Mitchell in the Adam Sandler movie Pixels, which I cannot defend for any other reason, but is worth watching if only for Peter Dinklage as Billy Mitchell.
I do have one other positive besides Peter Dinklage.
Okay.
The CGI in that movie fucking works so well because it's supposed to look like video games.
That's true.
They fucking nailed the look of that stuff.
That's true. Yeah, the CGI in that movie is good. The story, pretty stupid. The plot was just so fucking stupid. And when he's using cheat codes in real life, get the
that
fuck
doesn't
outta
make
here.
any sense. And how the fuck is he using cheat codes on an arcade cabinet anyways?
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. But Dinklage as a Billy Mitchell based character, fantastic. And
He's
the
even
CGI,
got the hair.
Yes, he does. The exact hair. And the CGI is quite strong.
You know what though? I've only seen Pixels once.
I didn't hate it. Like,
But
it's not unwatchable.
I kind of want to watch it again.
Dumb as shit.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch it again so I can form an actual opinion about it. Besides, like, this just sucks.
It probably could have stood to lose 20 to 30 minutes because it's over 2 hours.
It's one of those movies. It is probably perfectly watchable. There's definitely worse movies. The only issue with it is that Adam Sandler had too much say in it. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, Adam Sandler cast all his best friend. Kevin James plays his best friend
The
in
fucking
the movie.
president?
Yeah, plays President Kevin James. Picture that. Actually, don't picture it because that could be the future we're headed towards.
No, if we're going to go celebrities, Jon Stewart is my pick, all right?
I'd be cool with Jon Stewart. I'll tell you who I'd be cool with, who was pitched as a joke of how Gen X is going to screw up America. Okay. Janine Garofalo.
Oh, my.
I would love that.
You know what? I'm in. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So, is that it? Fucking pixels?
Fucking Dinklage, man. Yeah, like, there have been some other good references. I think Billy Mitchell was a character in Adventure Time or something. Huh. Maybe it wasn't Adventure Time. Maybe it was something else, but it was some cartoon, and he played, like, this disembodied head that was the head of Billy Mitchell.
Was it fucking Futurama?
It might have been Futurama. It might have been.
What we need now is a sequel. 20 years later, in 2028, we need a sequel. So yeah, that's it. King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. That's done. This is our second documentary that we've talked about. The first one didn't even really count because
what was the first one?
I'm Still Here.
Oh yeah, that's right. God, that is, what was that? Our 6th episode or something?
It was early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that, and we did this, and now we're done. We're gonna do another documentary here at some point, but I don't know when because documentaries are weird to talk about.
They are. I mean, they're not movies.
Like at least this one had like a narrative that flowed like a regular feature film kind of.
Yeah. Like there was a hero, there was a villain, there was a conflict, there was drama.
But like if you do Beyond the Mat, that doesn't really have that kind of narrative. It has a narrative. It has several, but
Beyond the Mat is probably my second favorite documentary. But if we're gonna do another documentary, I want it to be American Movie.
I want it to be American Movie because I still haven't fucking seen that.
American Movie is my favorite documentary. That movie, it's, oh god, if you haven't seen American Movie, fucking get on it.
So do you have anything to plug people's buttholes with before I do social media? And I'm in a band and we're called Not For Nothing. You can find all of our bullshit at Not For Nothing Music on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find all of our fucking show information there because I can't remember any of it until I get there.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's probably a good idea. Check out my Instagram at Samuel Mance. If you're confused about the spelling, it is on the Sharks Across Hollywood Instagram page.
Also, it's not his real name. His real name is...
It's my stage name. That's all that matters.
All right.
You're coming to see me on stage. You don't give me the name of every one of your band members. It's just Not For Nothing. That's your band.
That's it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with some other stuff. But oh shit, before we do that, you can follow us, Sharks Across Hollywood, on everything at the Shark Pod. And patreon.com/Sharks Across Hollywood. You can hear us talk about a bunch of other dumb bullshit. That's actually not dumb now. It's pretty dumb. Friday the 13th, Shaw Brothers movies, Asylum movies. It gets pretty weird in there. But, you pay money for that shit.
Yes, you do.
Some people pay extra. Am I right?
You fucking better.
So give us some money. Sharks Across Hollywood. Nope. Patreon.com/Sharks Across Hollywood. I always fucking do that. Anyways, we'll be back in a couple weeks with some other movie that we're going to be talking about, and it'll be really cool. But until then, stay jawsome.